Caleb Mercer stepped into the grand ballroom of the Larkspur estate, his polished Oxfords clicking on the marble floor. The room was a symphony of ivory drapes, crystal chandeliers, and towering floral arrangements, every detail handpicked by his fiancée, Elena. As he strode toward the head table, his father Victor's stern voice echoed behind him. "Victor, leaning in everything must be flawless, Caleb. This wedding will cement our family's legacy." Caleb nodded absently, scanning the room for Elena. Instead, his gaze landed on a different scene, a woman in a simple navy uniform, sleeves rolled up, wielding a mop with practiced precision. At her feet, two small children, a boy and a girl, identical in every detail, crouched, wringing out rags into a bucket. Their dark skin glowed in the slanting afternoon light, and something about their faces jolted Caleb's heart into his throat. He froze mid-step. The cleaner's name tag read Amara Quinn. His palms went slick. Memories of her laughter, the way her hair caught the sunshine, rushed back from a decade ago, when she'd been his world. "Caleb," voice barely a whisper. "Amara?" She paused, mop in hand, but didn't look up. He watched as one of the twins, Nova, glanced toward him with wide, curious eyes. And then, recognition. For a heartbeat, her small hand froze in mid-ring. Across the room, Elena swept down the aisle in a blush silk gown. She spotted him staring. "Elena," softly, but with steel. "Caleb? Are you all right?" His throat tightened. He forced a nod. "Caleb, just thinking about my speech." But his attention snapped back to Amara. A distant swell of music grew louder, Elena's chosen processional. Victor cleared his throat behind him. "Victor, smile for the cameras, son." Caleb plastered on the requisite grin. As photographers swarmed, his eyes stayed locked on the cleaner and her twins, who scurried away behind a swath of drapery. A shock of memory struck him, the night she vanished from his life, 7 years ago, refusing his proposal. He'd never known she was pregnant. The photographer called out, "Perfect. Now look our way." Caleb turned, but his heart thundered. Something vital had shifted. Elena's gown felt suddenly too heavy, the flowers too sweet. He smiled again for the flash, but inside, he was broken. At the crescendo of the processional, Caleb's gaze darted back toward the banquet hall entrance. A solitary nanny was leading the twins away. Amara remained behind, her back to him. He swallowed hard. His future, meticulously planned, lay before him. But in a single instant, his past cracked open and spilled inside. After the ceremony, guests swarmed into the courtyard for cocktails. Crystal flutes chimed, laughter bubbled. Caleb stood beside Elena, champagne in hand, but his eyes darted around the tent, searching for Amara. "Elena, studying him. You seem distracted." "Caleb, I just want everything to be perfect." She offered a tight smile and stepped away. Caleb scanned the line of waiting staff and cleaners. There, Amara knelt beside a buffet table, wiping crumbs from the pristine runner. Her hair was tucked into a loose bun, and faint worry lines circled her eyes. He remembered every freckle on her cheek. He slinked away from the champagne server, weaving between linen-draped tables, moving closer until the polished heels of his shoes nearly touched hers. "Caleb," voice low. "Amara Quinn?" She started, almost dropping her rag. Her head snapped up. Blue-black eyes met his, wide and uncertain. "Amara, sir, this is a private event. I'm just doing my job." He knelt to her level, careful to keep his voice soft. "Caleb, you don't understand. It's me, Caleb Mercer." A tremor passed over her face. Her eyes darted to the exit as if seeking an escape. Behind them, a server blocked his father's gaze. "Server, quietly. Mr. Mercer, your father asks for you." Caleb looked at Amara. Her jaw clenched. He hesitated, torn between his duty to the family and the storm inside his chest. "Caleb, I need to speak with you." "Later." She nodded once, metallic resolve in her posture. He rose, smoothing his lapel and rejoining the swirl of guests, Elena's speech already in progress. But as Elena's voice crescendoed, Caleb's mind replayed a 10-year-old memory, Amara's laughter dancing in a summer rain, the promise he never fulfilled. Elena, toasting to Caleb and Amara. She caught herself, confusion flickering across her face. Caleb's heart seized, she thought her name was Elena. He lifted his glass anyway, a hollow cheer erupting on his tongue. He met Victor's gaze across the table. His father raised an eyebrow. Caleb's lips thinned. "Victor, everything all right with you, son?" Caleb forced a laugh and set the glass down. He looked back to where Amara had been, but she'd vanished behind a curtain. The twins, hand in hand with their nanny, melted into the crowd. He realized in that instant, nothing would ever feel perfect again. That evening, in the towering glass offices of Mercer Technologies, Caleb sat motionless at his desk. Elena's voice swirled through his phone speaker. "Elena, brightly darling, did you see the cake? 3 tiers, engraved with our initials in silver." Caleb, distant yes, it's beautiful. "Elena, I know you're under pressure with the launch next week, but this wedding." He closed his eyes, seeing Amara's tired smile as she balanced twin toddlers on her hip. He tore his gaze from the skyline and rubbed his temples. "Caleb, Elena, I need a favor. Can we postpone tomorrow's dress fitting?" "Elena, sharp excuse me? I've moved heaven and earth for this." "Caleb, please." A silence bloomed. He ended the call. Leaning back, he recalled the way Amara's fingers trembled when she clutched her children, the unspoken apology in her eyes. At that moment, Naomi's voice drifted through the open door. "Naomi, gently Caleb? You wanted to see me." Naomi, Amara's best friend, was now a receptionist at one of his companies. She slipped into his office, her expression guarded. "Caleb, do you know why Amara is here?" "I saw her, today." Naomi sat, smoothing her skirt. "Naomi, she needed work. It's hard to find daytime cleaning gigs. She doesn't want charity." "Caleb, but why bring her twins? Why at my wedding venue?" Naomi's eyes shimmered. She leaned forward. "Naomi, she's trying to prove she's stable. But, Caleb, she's afraid if you learn they're yours, you'll vanish again." Caleb's chest tightened. He reached for his phone. "Caleb, arrange a meeting. Tomorrow. At noon." Naomi hesitated, then nodded. She stood to leave, pausing at the door. "Naomi, be gentle. She's been through a lot." Caleb watched her go. In the silent office, the city's lights gleamed like distant stars. He realized he'd built his life to avoid pain, and in doing so, lost everything that truly mattered. The next day, beneath the harsh fluorescence of a downtown cafe, Caleb sat across from Amara. She clutched a travel mug as her twins tugged at her skirt, whispering questions. "Nova, softly mommy, is that daddy over there?" Amara glanced across at Caleb's mirrored sunglasses, checking her children's reflections. She swallowed hard. "Amara, it's just Mr. Mercer. Go draw at that table." The twins scampered off, pulling crayons from their mother's tote. Amara hunched over, eyes wary. "Caleb, quietly Amara, I need answers. Why here? Why now?" Her shoulders straightened. She folded her hands on the table. "Amara, 7 years ago, when I left, I was pregnant. I ran because I thought I was saving you from a life of sacrifice. Caleb, you didn't trust me? Amara, I thought you'd call off everything once you learned. You were going to marry me, then I vanished. I should have stayed. But I was ashamed, I had nowhere to go." Caleb stared at her, the cafe noise fading. He saw the flush of regret on her cheeks. He reached out, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Caleb, let me see them." Amara's eyes brimmed. She shook her head. Amara, not yet. He nodded and pulled from his jacket a small envelope. He placed it on the table, 2 vials labeled DNA Kit Plus instructions. Caleb, I want to know the truth. For all our sakes. Her hands trembled, fingers grazing the envelope. Sirens wailed outside. The twins giggled, oblivious, holding up their crayon portraits. Caleb, voice firm, you don't have to face this alone. Amara closed her eyes. She exhaled, shoulders shuddering. Amara, okay. That evening, Caleb slipped out of his penthouse and tailed Amara's battered Corolla through neon-lit streets. She parked outside a low-rent apartment block. The twins clambered out, yawning. Caleb watched from a parked car, heart-pinching. Inside, Amara led them up a narrow staircase to a third-floor flat. The door creaked open, revealing a single room, a mattress on the floor, clothes hanging from a line, a battered toy chest in the corner. She set the twins down and let them play with worn teddy bears. Caleb's breath caught. This was the world she shielded from him, raw, unvarnished, courageous. From the balcony, he watched her prepare a simple meal, a pot of rice and beans. Her face was a mask of fatigue and love. The twins chattered, sharing adventures from the day. We saw fireworks. But Amara's eyes never left them. He tapped his phone. Caleb, text to Naomi she's here. Photos sent. Inside, Amara knelt to serve plates. One plate tipped, rice spilled. She cursed under her breath, then smiled, scooping food back up. Her resilience struck him like lightning. A shout startled him. Nova barreled into Amara's arms. Nova, Mommy, I'm hungry. Amara laughed, smoothing Nova's hair. Caleb felt tears sting. He realized his decision would change everything, for better or for worse. His phone buzzed, Naomi's reply, it's up to you. He closed his eyes, breath shallow. He drove away, resolve hardening. Tomorrow, he would face his own pride and embrace the family he'd inadvertently created. The morning sun filtered through dusty blinds in Amara's cramped apartment, casting long shadows across the threadbare carpet. Caleb Mercer stood just inside the doorway, clutching a leather briefcase, an odd souvenir from his billionaire world. Behind him, his personal driver idled in a sleek SUV. Inside the car, 2 brand-new car seats waited. Amara paused mid-sweep, the twins' laughter echoing from the adjoining room. Noah had commandeered her old rocking chair, while Nova insisted on helping by dumping a tub of spilled cereal onto the floor. The small tableau of domestic chaos struck Caleb like a punch to the gut. Caleb, softly, I know I didn't ask before, but I can't just walk away. She froze, mop in hand. Her eyes, so like his own, widened in wary surprise. Amara, Mr. Mercer, you've already done more than enough. Caleb set down his briefcase and knelt to her level. Call me Caleb, he said, then turned to the twins as they scrambled toward him. Hey there, champs. He scooped up Nova and Noah, one in each arm. They giggled, patting his crisp shirt. Amara's chest heaved. She'd insisted on managing alone, refused handouts, prized her independence above all. But now, seeing his gentle embrace, she couldn't deny the truth, he cared, and in spite of everything, she needed him. Amara, voice wavering, I can't take charity. Caleb, this isn't charity. Let me help you, hire you officially at Mercer Tech. A steady salary, benefits, daycare coverage. No questions asked. She shook her head. I don't need a handout. I need to stand on my own. Caleb, earnestly, you already stand on your own. I just want to give you a hand so the weight isn't crushing you. Amara's eyes stung. Behind them, the twins tugged at his suit jacket, demanding attention. He played peekaboo, and their delighted squeals filled the room. Amara, whispering, you're making it harder to say no. He smiled, gently setting the twins down. Then maybe you don't have to. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out 2 crisp envelopes. These are vouchers for a month of full-time nanny care. She stared at them, torn between pride and relief. Finally, she nodded, voice barely audible, "Thank you." He exhaled. "One more thing, tomorrow, I'd like you and the children at the company retreat. Just until I know you're safe." Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. It was Elena, demanding to know why Caleb hadn't shown up for their breakfast meeting. His jaw clenched. He turned back to Amara. "Caleb, I've got to go, but I'll see you tomorrow." Outside, he climbed into his SUV, heart pounding. As the car pulled away, Amara watched the tinted window slide shut, tears glistening on her lashes. A crisp autumn breeze whipped across the Mercer Technologies corporate campus as Caleb stepped out of the sleek chauffeur car, phone pressed to his ear. "Caleb, Victor, I need to see the files on Amara Quinn. Everything you have." His father's voice crackled through the line, frosty as ever. "Victor, you want to dredge up old ghosts? Be careful what you ask for, son." Caleb hung up and strode through the revolving doors, mind racing. The memory of Amara's proud refusal haunted him. Why had she thought she had to hide from him? Deep in the archives basement, he found a banker's box stamped Q, Foundation Grants, Confidential. His pulse quickened as he flipped it open, letters, ledgers, and a torn photograph of himself and Amara laughing in a sunlit park. A brass plate on the back simply read, "Property Sale, Q Holdings, 2017. He rifled through the folder labeled Amara Quinn, Disbursements and Correspondence. A single line of text jumped out, "Grant retracted per advisory from V. Mercer." His father's initials. Caleb's face went pale. He sank to the floor, knees knocking. The files revealed that after Amara confided in Victor's charitable foundation about her pregnancy and revealed Caleb as the father, his father had quietly cut off her funding and connections, fearing scandal. He sank back against the concrete wall, fists tight around the file. Scenes from that time flooded him, Amara's sudden disappearance, her anguished voice leaving his voicemail, his own pride forcing him to move on. Caleb, whispering to himself, "Dad, why?" He slammed the box shut and bolted upstairs, storming into Victor's opulent office. The elder Mercer looked up from his desk, steepling his fingers. "Victor, I warned you, Caleb, some truths are better left buried." "Caleb, you destroyed her life." "Victor, coldly I protected the company's reputation, and yours. You were untested, naive. I did what a father must." "Caleb, you robbed me of the chance to know my children." Victor rose, towering in his tailored suit. "Victor, stop this nonsense. You're about to marry Elena. A clean slate." Caleb's jaw locked. He turned and fled, fury and guilt warring within him. Outside, the autumn sky blurred as tears stung his eyes. Later that night, Caleb found Amara at home, the twins asleep in their bunk bed. He laid the file on her kitchen table, heart pounding. "Caleb, I know everything now. My father, cut you off." Amara's face drained of color. She closed her eyes, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. "Amara," choked whisper, "thank you for telling me." She did not reach out, she simply let him stand there, remorseful and broken. A storm raged outside as Caleb and Amara huddled on the threadbare couch, the purple envelope torn open on the coffee table. Inside lay a single photograph, Amara, smiling in ragged clothes, holding newborn twins, and behind her, a man's gloved hand tightly gripping her shoulder. Her eyes flicked to the study lamp's glow, then to Caleb's. He swallowed. "Caleb, you survived on your own. You fought every day. But why didn't you ever tell me?" She pressed her lips together. The rain pounded the window. "Amara, I had to protect them." "Caleb, gently from me?" Amara's chin trembled. She closed her eyes, summoning courage. "Amara," voice cracking 2 words. He leaned forward. "Caleb, just say them." She inhaled, then exhaled in a rush. Amara, your father. Caleb's heart stopped. Not I'm sorry, not I forgive, your father. In that moment, the photograph snapped back into focus. The man clutching Amara had to be Victor's hired fixer, sent to ensure her silence. Every late-night phone call, every hasty voicemail she'd left him, all orchestrated by the man who called Caleb son. Caleb rose, pacing the creaking floorboards. Storm flashes illuminated his anguished face. Caleb, he threatened you. Amara nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. Amara, he said if I ever came looking for you, I'd lose the only home I had, and worse, you'd never know your kids. Caleb's fists clenched. He looked at the twins, asleep in the next room, oblivious. Caleb, they deserve to know their grandfather. Amara, no. They deserve safety. He closed his eyes. 2 words, your father, reverberated in his mind like thunder. Caleb, quietly, I'll fix this. He crossed to her side and took her hands. She let him, her shoulders still trembling. Caleb, whatever he's done, I'll undo it. The grand ballroom of the President's Club glittered with chandeliers as guests in tuxedos and gowns murmured over champagne. Caleb navigated through the crowd, shadows under his eyes betraying sleepless nights. Across the room, his mother, Sophia Mercer, presided over the gala, her crystal necklace catching the light. Their eyes met. Her lips pressed into a thin line. She approached, cool as winter. Sophia, Caleb, everyone's asking where you've been. Caleb, forcing a smile, business, mother. She studied him for a beat, then leaned closer, voice a silken blade. Sophia, tell me, dear, this Amara Quinn. A cleaner at my son's wedding. Quite the scandal. He stiffened. Caleb, it's not what you think. Sophia, do enlighten me. Her voice carried across the clinking glasses, guests turned, sensing drama. Caleb's face flushed. Caleb, Mom, please. Before he could finish, Sophia's hand shot out, grasping his arm. Sophia, you're standing in my social club, son. I won't have whispers about my family. She signaled to a waiter, who produced a silver tray bearing 2 envelopes embossed with the Mercer crest. Sophia dropped them onto the table. Sophia, these were delivered for you. DNA test kits. Your fiancé arranged them. Caleb's heart lurched. Elena. She'd heard the rumors, she'd hired the lab. He looked down at the kits. Elena, suddenly at his side, cool smile. Curiosity killed the cat. Caleb. Are you prepared for the truth? Murmurs rippled through the guests. One by one, eyes flicked between Caleb, his mother, and Elena. Caleb's chest tightened, the room felt too small. Caleb, voice low. Elena. Elena, just do it. Confirm what you know in your heart. She placed a hand on his arm, but her eyes were steel. Sophia smiled approvingly. Sophia, good. A true Mercer faces facts. Caleb peeled open the envelope. Inside, a vial of his saliva, 2 empty vials labeled Child A and Child B, and instructions for immediate return. A hush fell. The orchestra faltered mid-note. Caleb, barely audible, this can't be. He met Amara's gaze across the room. She stood by the back exit, twins in tow, face pale but determined. He swallowed, breath trembling. Caleb, to Elena, I have to go. Elena's lips curved in a triumph he'd never felt from her before. She nodded, handing him his coat. Elena, hurry. We'll be waiting. He fled through the throng, dodging gasps as he reached Amara. He held out the second envelope. Caleb, for you. She accepted it with a small nod. As he turned away, Elena's laughter, soft and cruel, followed him. The next afternoon, Caleb found himself in a private conference room at a discreet genetics lab. The air smelled of antiseptic. A lab technician slid 2 sealed envelopes across the table, Child A and Child B. Caleb's hand shook as he traced the embossed lab logo. Technician, softly open them whenever you're ready. He nodded, heart pounding. Across from him sat Amara, pale but resolute, twin children clutching each other on a bench outside the glass door. Caleb tore open the envelope for Child A, Noah. His breath caught as he scanned the page. Probability of paternity, 99.98%. His vision blurred. Relief and regret crashed together. He reached for Child B's envelope, Nova. Probability of paternity, 99.98%. A roar of emotion welled in him, joy, sorrow, fury, and love so fierce it left him breathless. Caleb, voice trembling their mine. Amara rose, tears coursing down her cheeks. The twins peered through the glass door. Amara, they, both of them. He crossed to her, pulling her into a fierce embrace in front of the lab table. For a moment, the world narrowed to the two of them and the proof in his hands. Caleb, whispering, I should have fought for them. Amara, softly, you're here now. Suddenly, the door swung open. Elena stood there, her face a mask of outrage. Sophia appeared behind her, arms folded. Elena, I see, so it's true. Sophia, do you have any idea what this means for the family name? Caleb straightened, lifting his chin for the first time. Caleb, it means I have a family. Elena's eyes narrowed. Elena, don't think you can just. He cut her off, voice firm and resolute. Caleb, Elena, this ends now. I'm done lying to myself, and to everyone. He strode past her, offering his arm to Amara. In the hallway, the twins pressed close, their small hands slipping into his. As the door closed behind them, Caleb felt the weight of the Mercer legacy shift off his shoulders. Everything had changed. He was a father, a partner, and finally, fully himself. Caleb stood at the edge of the marble platform in the Grand Atrium Hotel, hands trembling around the microphone. Before him sat hundreds of well-dressed guests, investors, family friends, and socialites, each sporting a polite, anticipatory smile. Elena, radiant in her lace-embroidered gown, hovered just behind the floral arch. Victor Mercer watched from the front row, his face an immovable mask of expectation. Caleb, voice catching, thank you all for joining us today. A ripple of applause broke out, but Caleb lifted a hand to quiet them. The chandeliers above caught the tear in his eye as he inhaled. Caleb, I've spent my life planning every detail, business deals, product launches, even this moment. But today, I've realized that a ring and a ceremony can't erase a deeper truth. A hush fell. Elena's lip curled in confusion. Victor's eyebrows drew together. Caleb, I cannot stand here and marry someone I don't fully trust with my past, or my future. I thought I was walking toward the life I wanted, until I saw what truly matters. He paused, scanning the crowd until his gaze landed on the back of the room, where Amara Quinn sat cradling Noah and Nova. The twins wore tiny tuxedos over sweaters, their eyes wide. Amara caught his eye and offered the slightest nod of encouragement. Caleb, voice steadying, I'm sorry, Elena. I must cancel the wedding. A stunned silence roared louder than any cheers could have. Elena lurched forward. Elena, whispering, what are you doing? Caleb, I'm choosing to be honest. I'm choosing responsibility and love for the family I never knew I had. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. Victor rose, face ashen. Victor, fierce whisper, you can't do this. Caleb stepped down from the platform and strode toward Amara, ignoring the shocked glances. Elena's gasp echoed behind him. Elena, Caleb, come back. Caleb knelt and scooped the twins into his arms. I'm sorry to everyone here, he said softly, but I cannot betray them, or her, anymore. He stood, the twins nestled against his chest, and turned to leave. The guests parted like waves. Elena's scream pierced the air, you fool. Victor lunged forward, but Caleb held up a hand. Without glancing back, he walked past the arch, down the aisle strewn with petals, and out into the cool evening air. The following morning, Caleb found himself driving through the city's less polished neighborhoods, his mind still reeling from the night before. He followed his GPS to a converted warehouse with a sign that read Hope and Horizons Community Center. At the door, a bell jingled as Amara emerged, guiding a line of children inside. She waved when she spotted him, but maintained her professional composure. He watched as she greeted each child by name, some calling her Ms. Quinn, others hugging her tightly. "Caleb, quietly, this is where you've been." Amara offered a small smile. "We open every morning. I manage after-school programs." He stepped into the sunlit hall, where tables overflowed with donated books, coats, and backpacks. Posters on the walls proclaimed art contests, job training workshops, and nutrition classes. Volunteers bustled around, unloading boxes. "Volunteer," to Amara. The township match came through, another 10,000 in supplies. Amara, "Perfect, let's schedule the parent meeting for next Thursday." Caleb marveled at her authority and warmth. She pointed out the corner where the twins were playing with a group of neighborhood children. "Amara, they're adapting faster than I expected." He crouched down. Noah handed him a handmade bracelet. Nova offered a crayon drawing of their apartment. "Caleb, they're happy here." Amara studied his face. "They deserve more than crumbs of stability." He nodded. "I know that now." Then he blinked against her steady gaze. "I saw you, thriving." She shrugged, a wistful tilt to her lips. "This place saved me. Now I try to give back." A sudden buzz on his belt made him check his phone, Detective Reed calling. He silenced it. "Caleb, softly, your life, it's nothing I imagined for you." "Amara, I never imagined needing help." He reached into his pocket. "I want to fund this center. Fully cover mortgage, utilities, whatever you need." Her eyes filled. "I can't take charity." "Caleb, this isn't charity. Think of it as, in part, making up for lost time." Her voice cracked. "I just want you to be here, sometimes." He smiled. "Deal." Behind them, a black SUV coasted into the parking lot. Caleb's gut clenched as a figure slipped out, high-collared coat soaked through from the drizzle. A week later, Caleb led Amara and the twins up a winding driveway to a newly built villa on the hillside. The house gleamed with floor-to-ceiling windows, a manicured lawn, and an infinity pool overlooking the city skyline. "Caleb, welcome home." Amara's breath caught. It's incredible." He handed her the keys. "It's yours. Fully paid. Move in whenever you like." She hugged the twins, then turned to Caleb. "This is too much. Caleb, you deserve comfort. No more cramped apartment." Amara stepped inside, her fingertips brushing the marble counters. She peered into every room, an office, a playroom, bedrooms for the twins, and one for herself. "Amara, it's beautiful, but it's not home." Caleb frowned. "What do you mean?" She walked into the living room where sunlight streamed across an empty couch. "Home isn't a building. Home is where community gathers, where we help each other." He blinked. "You're turning down a gift." Her eyes shone with quiet conviction. "I need the center, and the kids' school, to have stability. Let's use this money to expand Hope and Horizons." He swallowed. "You want me to invest there?" She nodded. "Turn this place into a model for struggling neighborhoods." "Not a mansion for me." Silence fell. Caleb fought back surprise and admiration. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a new document. "Caleb, I drafted the plans. A wing here for adult education, a daycare there, fully funded." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You never cease to amaze me." He exhaled. So, no villa? She took his hand. I already have a home among these people. He smiled, relief flooding him. End of chapter 13, cliffhanger. As they embrace, his phone buzzes with an unknown number. Detective Reed texting, need to meet. Urgent. Late that night, Caleb sat on the edge of Amara's old but cozy couch, reading Where the Wild Things Are to Noah and Nova under a single lamp. Their heads rested on his shoulders, the twins yawning between each illustrated spread. Noah, softly, Daddy, are you really our dad? Caleb's throat closed. Amara hovered in the doorway, silent. Nova looked up, eyes wide. Nova, you said you love us, so are you our daddy? He closed the book, tracing their small hands in his. His voice trembled. Caleb, I am. They beamed, and he felt tears well. He reached to soothe them, but words failed him. Noah, but why didn't you marry our mommy? Caleb's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed. Amelia appeared beside him, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. Amara, they've had a lot of questions tonight. He forced a laugh. It's a lot for them, for all of us. Nova yawned again. Nova, can we sleep now? Caleb, yes, sweetheart. He tucked them in, brushing Nova's curls and kissing Noah's forehead. As he stood, Amara met his gaze, pride and pain mingled in her eyes. He swallowed once more, determined to speak at dawn. Suddenly, his phone buzzed on the coffee table. The screen displayed Detective Reed, 2 new messages. Caleb's breath hitched. Detective Reed, texts need to talk. Now. Detective Reed, it's about Victor Mercer. Caleb's heart hammered. He glanced at Amara, who nodded, go. The next morning, Amara invited Caleb into her small kitchen. The twins were at school, and sunlight filtered through lace curtains. On the table lay a stack of ribbon-tied letters, yellowed with time. Amara, quietly, there's something I need to show you. Caleb's brow furrowed as she untied the top bundle. He lifted the top letter, fragile handwriting on crisp stationery dated 8 years ago. Caleb, soft, these, all for me? She nodded, voice wavering. I wrote you every week after I left. I poured out my heart, my fears, my hopes, for us. He flipped through dozens of envelopes, each covered in decorative postage stamps from around the world. Torn photographs slipped from between the pages, images of young Amara holding her belly, smiling alone in parks. Caleb, why didn't you send them? Her eyes glistened. I was afraid. I thought you'd moved on, that you'd marry someone else. I didn't want to burden you. He sank into a chair, letters spilling across his lap. All this time. Amara, your father intercepted them. He paid the postman off. I never knew until I came here to fight on my own. Caleb's fists clenched. Amara, raising a hand, it's in the past. She took a deep breath. But there's one more secret. He looked up, pulse racing. Caleb, what is it? Amara hesitated, then pressed a small flash drive into his hand. Amara, evidence, recordings from 7 years ago. Conversations between your father and his fixer, threats, bribes, everything. I kept it hidden until I knew I could trust you. Caleb looked at the drive as if it were a grenade. His world tilted. Caleb, you saved this? Amara, I saved it, for the right moment. Thunder rumbled outside. He felt the weight of her sacrifice and knew the next steps would change everything again. Night had fallen when Caleb and Detective Reed burst through the doors of Hope and Horizons Community Center. A single bulb flickered over the reception desk. The place should have been empty, but the front door hung ajar, its lock shattered. Caleb, whispering Amara? Noah? Nova? Silence. His heart pounded. Together, he and Reed swept through the echoing hallways, eyes darting across overturned chairs and scattered crayon drawings. In the playroom, tiny handprints were smeared across the whiteboard. A lone sneaker lay under the art table. Reed, grim, they were taken. Kidnapped. Caleb's breath caught. He sprinted down the stairs to the parking area. The twins' bright red tricycle lay abandoned on the cracked concrete. He fumbled for his phone and dialed Amara. Caleb, voice cracking. Amara? The center, it's been broken into. The twins, they're gone. No answer. Panic seized him. He dropped to his knees, eyes wild. Detective Reed placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. Reed, listen. Let me call the precinct. We'll block all exits. Suddenly, Caleb's phone rang. The screen read unknown caller. He hesitated, then answered. Caleb, horse, hello? A distorted voice crackled through. Kidnapper, cold, you left your children unguarded, Mercer. Now they're ours. If you ever want to see them again, you'll follow my instructions. Caleb's blood froze. He glanced at Reed. Reed, do not provoke him. Tell me what he says. Back on the line, the kidnapper continued. Kidnapper, bring me the drive, the one with your father's secrets. Leave it on the old pier at midnight. Come alone. Do not involve the police. Caleb's knuckles whitened. Why are you doing this? Kidnapper, retribution. Revenge for his sins. You have until tonight. The line went dead. Caleb stared at the black screen, breath ragged. Outside, distant sirens approached. He looked at Reed, determination replacing fear. Caleb, I have to go. Alone. Reed hesitated, then nodded. I'll mobilize units around the pier. But keep your promise, no tricks. Caleb rose, voice hollow. He'll kill them if I don't. By the time he reached his SUV, he was shaking. He slipped the flash drive, the only leverage he had, into his jacket pocket. His mind churned with horrors, Amara pacing the empty apartment, the twins crying in a stranger's grip. He slammed the door shut and peeled away, lights flashing behind him. As he raced toward the old pier, every streetlight blurred into a tunnel of dread. The waterfront lay deserted, gray mist drifting across the boards. Caleb's pulse thundered. He scanned the shadows. On the planks ahead, a single envelope lay. He edged forward, the creaking wood echoing. He knelt, picking it up. Inside, a note in neat script. Drive in the green toolbox under the lamp post. Do it quickly, or they die. He looked up. The lone lamp post cast a sickly glow over a wooden toolbox. Caleb's chest tightened. He reached inside and found the flash drive wedged beside a single bullet. His phone buzzed, a text from Reed, units in position. No sudden moves. Caleb swallowed. He tapped the drive in his palm and dialed the kidnapper's number. Caleb, steady voice, it's here. Now tell me where they are. Silence. Then. Kidnapper, under the pier, at the old warehouse. Hurry. Caleb pocketed the phone and rose. Every step toward the warehouse felt like walking into a trap, and yet, leaving the twins alone was unthinkable. He squared his shoulders. Tonight, he would risk everything. End of chapter 16, cliffhanger. As Caleb approaches the warehouse door, spotlights pierce the fog, and he realizes it's not the police who trained them. Rain hammered against Caleb's sleek apartment window as he burst through the door, drenched, exhausted, but heart-pounding with relief and dread. Inside, Amara sat on the edge of the couch, eyes red and puffy. The twins hung onto her, clutching damp blankets. They raced to Caleb, wrapping their arms around his legs. Nova, trembling daddy. Caleb scooped both children into his arms, rocking them. I've got you. I've got you. Amara rose, wrapping her arms around him. Where were they? He shook his head. I'll explain everything. First, are they okay? Before she could reply, the doorbell rang, sharp and unexpected. Caleb frowned. He set the twins down gently. Caleb, I'll get it. Crossing the foyer, he peered through the peephole. A man in a charcoal trench coat and fedora stood in the rain, face obscured. A shiver ran through Caleb, he didn't recognize him. Caleb, calling, who is it? Stranger, voice muffled, open up. It's urgent. Caleb unlatched the chain and opened the door a crack. The stranger leaned in, raindrops dripping from his brim. Stranger, Mr. Mercer. I work with Detective Reed. We need to talk, now. Caleb's heart sank. He stepped back and opened the door wider. Caleb, you're not Reed. The stranger held up a badge, unofficial looking, stamped with Internal Affairs, Special Division. Caleb's jaw tightened. Stranger, your father's reach runs deep. I'm here to warn you, you've only scratched the surface. The man who took your children, he's one of Victor Mercer's enforcers. Inside, Amara stiffened. She crossed her arms. Why are you here? The stranger pushed past Caleb into the living room, water pooling on the hardwood. Elena called it in. She sent me. Caleb, angry Elena? She betrayed me. The stranger ignored him. Listen. Victor is planning something big, read this, he said, sliding a manila folder onto the coffee table. Inside, financial ledgers, offshore accounts, shell companies linked to organized crime. Stranger, your father's empire is built on blood money. He's cleaning house, removing anyone who knows too much. Tonight's kidnapping was a test, to see if you'd bleed for your own. Caleb stared, heart pounding. He glanced at Amara, whose lips pressed into a thin line. Amara, we need to go to Reed. The stranger shook his head. Reed's compromised. He's loyal to Victor. If you go to him, you'll both be targets. Caleb ripped the folder open, scanning damning evidence, transactions funneling millions to mercenaries, coded orders for asset relocation. Caleb, this can bring him down. The stranger nodded. But you'll need proof, witness statements, financial records from inside. And you need allies. He pointed to Amara. She's one of them. You both are in more danger than you know. A crack of thunder rattled the windows. The twins peeked from behind Amara's legs. Caleb crouched beside them. Caleb, softly, you two are safe here. The stranger glanced at the children, concern flickering. Not for long. You need to vanish, get to a safe house. I've arranged transport. Amara's voice shook. What about the center? Stranger, I'll take care of it. But first, get out, Mr. Mercer. Caleb rose, face set. He gathered the folder and the flash drive. The stranger handed him a burner phone. Stranger, call this when you're secure. I'll send backup. At the door, the stranger paused. Be careful who you trust. Your father's shadows reach everywhere. He slipped into the rain, leaving Caleb and Amara huddled in the foyer. Caleb closed the door, locked every bolt, and turned to her. Caleb, we're running. Amara, together. They exchanged a grim nod, ready to face the storm as one. Alarms blared in the sterile corridors of St. Augustine's Medical Center as Caleb raced down the hallway, Amara at his heels, the twins clutching his coat. Detective Reed, surprisingly, waited at the nurse's station, urgency etched on his face. Reed, they brought in your father, gunshot wound. He collapsed at headquarters. Caleb's heart thundered. He shot himself? Reed shook his head. Shot by one of his own men. Rival faction. He's in surgery. Amara's hand flew to her mouth. Victor? Caleb nodded. His chest tightened. Victor Mercer, the architect of so much pain, lay bleeding on an operating table. Emotions warred within him, fury, betrayal, pitiful compassion. Caleb, voice shaking, I need to see him. Reed hesitated. He's critical. But I'll get you in. They reached the ICU. Through the glass, Caleb saw his father, pallid, tubes snaking in every limb, monitors beeping. Victor's face was peaceful, oblivious to the chaos he'd wrought. Caleb swallowed and stepped inside. He approached the bed, voice barely a whisper. Caleb, Dad. Victor's eyelids fluttered. He turned his head slightly, eyes clouded with pain. Victor, hoarse Caleb. Caleb's vision blurred. He gripped his father's hand. Caleb, why? Why did it come to this? Victor's eyes searched Caleb's, regret shining in their depths. Victor, I tried to protect you. But I lost everything. His voice faded as a nurse adjusted his fore. Caleb leaned down. Caleb, quiet vow I won't let you, no more killing. I'll finish this, for all of us. Victor's grip tightened, then slipped slack. The monitor's flatline tone echoed like a hammer blow. Caleb's world shattered. Amara rushed to his side, wrapping arms around him as he sank to his knees, tears soaking the sheets. Amara, softly, you did what you had to. Caleb lifted his head, face streaked with tears. Caleb, I promised the kids I'd protect them. I'll protect this family, his legacy ends here. That night, in the hospital chapel's dim light, Caleb knelt alone, hands clasped. Caleb, vow I swear, I will make things right. No more secrets. No more fear. For Amara, for Noah and Nova, for everyone you hurt, I will end this reign of darkness. He rose, determination in every step. Outside, the twins waited in the car with Amara. Caleb opened the door. Caleb, let's go home. As they drove away, the city's lights framed a new dawn, one forged in loss, but lit by hope. Under a pale morning sky, Caleb pulled the SUV into the Mercy Chapel parking lot. Amara sat in the passenger seat, Noah and Nova dozing in the back. Her eyes were red from tears. He reached over and took her hand. Caleb, are you ready? Amara nodded, voice trembling. I think so. They entered the small chapel where Detective Reed stood by a wooden table. On it lay a simple license and pen. Reed glanced up. Reed, you're not under arrest, but I need your statement. Afterwards, whatever you need. Caleb exhaled. Thank you. They exchanged a glance, both knowing what came next. Caleb stepped forward, clearing his throat. Caleb, to Amara Quinn, and Caleb Mercer. Today, in front of our family and friends, I commit my life to you and our children. I promise honesty, support, and love, no matter what the future holds. Tears slipped down Amara's cheeks. She rose, stepping next to Caleb. Amara, I promise to stand by you, to build a true home, for us and our children, free from fear and secrets. Caleb took a deep breath, then turned to her, voice thick with emotion. Caleb, I love you, Amara. I have always loved you. She reached for his face, thumbs brushing away a tear. I love you too. They signed the license together. Outside, the twins tumbled into Caleb's arms, giggling as he swung them both. Noah, are we a family now? Caleb nodded, planting a kiss on each forehead. Forever. As they piled into the SUV, Detective Reed approached Caleb, handing him a folder. Read evidence on your father's network. And a safe house key. Caleb nodded, gratitude and resolve in his eyes. Caleb, we're just getting started. The next morning, the world woke to unprecedented headlines. Billionaire Mercer's redemption, single mother saved his children. Social media exploded, hashtags trended, talk shows cued callers, and news anchors dissected every detail. On the rooftop garden of the newly expanded Hope and Horizons Community Center, Caleb and Amara stood before a gathering of community leaders, reporters, and well-wishers. Their twins scampered around, hands full of ribbon-cutting scissors. Reporter, into mic Mr. Mercer, how does it feel to be both hero and villain in the public eye? Caleb smiled warmly, kneeling beside his children. Caleb, if my mistakes led to this moment, this family, this community, then it was worth it. Flashbulbs popped as Amara stepped forward. Amara, I only ever wanted safety for my children. But today, we have something greater, hope. For every mother, every family, every child who needs a chance. The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras panned across the city skyline, lingering on the center's bright new wing. That afternoon, the family retreated to their modest safe house. Caleb poured juice for Noah and Nova. Amara leaned against the counter, watching him. Amara, you kept your vow. He handed her a cup. We kept our vow. She set down the cup and pressed a hand to his chest. I never imagined this. He kissed her forehead. Neither did I. A knock sounded at the door. Detective Reed entered, sliding an envelope across the table. Reed, final piece. Your father's empire is dismantling, your evidence triggered multiple arrests. Justice is underway. He paused. But there's one more thing. He handed Caleb a sealed communique, classified, national security. Caleb opened it. Inside, a summons from the president's office requesting his testimony on corporate corruption. Caleb's eyes widened. He looked at Amara. She smiled, proud. Caleb, soft ready for chapter 21? Amara laughed, lifting the twins in a playful spin. Amara, with you? Always. Above them, the sun broke through clouds, bathing the safe house in golden light. The world watched their every move, and for once, their story was not about scandal, but about love, redemption, and the power of truth. The end.